Welcome back. So, Mr. Amewera, the Presidential Task Force on Custom Reforms.
Yeah.
You've been in existence since 2011, or that task force was there since 2011, right?
Yes, it was inaugurated 2010. We worked till 2011.
Okay.
And we are supposed to guide the implementation of the transfer of destination inspection. So let me explain. In the port arena, you have two components of reform. You have the port reforms and you have the customs reforms. The port reforms address issues like concessions, movement of cargo, and all the rest, while the customs reforms address procedures and processes. And in 2006, these two reforms actually they actually work together. Where you have the concessions in 2006, most of them are almost close to 10 years old, 10 to move into 11. Then the customs reforms, we were appointed in 2010 to look at the blueprint of all reforms, all from inception, then be able to harmonize them, guide them, and guide the implementation. We are to transfer. We are made to transfer all the process of destination inspection from the service providers to the customs. And in that light, things like scanners, which is one of the core components in trade facilitation, that have security components and have trade facilitation components, all of them have been collapsed in the port. No scanner is working. And why? Because you have, in that, there is a contract between the service providers and the federal government. At the expiration of the contract in 2012, there was an extension of a 1 year additional extension of the contract so that the service providers can hand over properly. And in 2013, there's an unexpired 6 months components of maintenance, labor, and parts unexpired. That means after expiration of that contract, the service provider is supposed to wait along for another 6 months. Make sure that they transfer a brand new scanners. It might not be too new, but it must be functional and working, because that is what the content of the contract. But that contract was wholly taken over by the management of customs, because we set up a transition team. That transition team is supposed to audit the scanners, audit some of the equipment, and make sure that the transfer is seamless, and at least the whole things are functional. On that transition team, actually, we cannot implement them. What they had was to bring in the implementation team. So what you have today is that you have scanners that are not working. And scanners are for security and for revenue, for trade facilitation, all over the port. And one of these scanners, one of the fixed scanners, are almost close to 19 million euro, because you have 4 fixed scanners, one of them. So lately there was agitation that they want to buy new, and that is on scanners. In the port reforms, when you look at the processes of port, we don't comply with the Kyoto Convention. We don't comply with the FAO Convention of the IMO. The Kyoto Convention is talking about harmonization and simplification of procedures, customs procedures. When you look at all our laws, most of them are imposed. Our violation principles are imposed. Our procedures are imposed.
Oh, can I just stop you for a minute there?
Yes.
When Mr. Bwago was talking, he talked about laws that are there, the customs law and the port laws and all of the concessioning laws and everything. You're saying all of them are imposed?
Most of these things are not complied with. That is what we are saying.
But the concessions are on. Some of them almost 11 years.
The concessions we have, they are contracts. We are still yet to midwife a concession law that will actually accommodate the concession, which is still in the National Assembly. I think that one will be addressed.
So what law was used to concession the parts of the ports that were concessioned?
It was just under the MPA Act, which was a lease agreement.
Okay.
So it was not a concession component. It was a lease agreement.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So the way where we are right now,
Yeah.
are ports functioning as they should?
Our port is in disarray, completely in disarray. Now, if you look at even going through, because Lagos actually controls almost 80% of the cargo throughput within the whole country. Lagos, you have concentration of Tinkan Port, Apapa Port, and PTMR. Those are three major ports you have. And these three major ports take care of almost 80% of our cargo within the country. Within those areas, you cannot access the port. That is a key area where the port access routes are blocked completely. And it's a national disgrace that we have that thing. And it's under the MPA. MPA are supposed to do that under Section 32A.
Take care of their access routes.
Take care of the access routes. Because the law says control, manage, and maintain. Control, manage, and maintain. So when you go to MPA, they will tell you it is FEMA or somebody else. But the law is clear. And MPA collects. There is a 7% development levy that was introduced by government in 1978. That is it's Decree 8 of 1978. It's Customs Miscellaneous Decree. That decree was when we have the cement armada, where these ports were created for Tinkan, Warri, and all the rest. And all sports are just ports to decongest the cement and during the trying to see how they can reduce the whole process of the ports process, so that you don't have concentration. There was a lot of congestion, and that was what actually informed the creation of those ports. And these ports, this 7% development levy was increased from 4% to 7% now. You have some of the agencies, and MPA collects almost 3% of that money. We expect that money
to be used
for those things.
Access.
Yes, for access. So those monies are not used there. And the access roads is one of the trade facilitation thing. Apart from that access roads, there is no holding bay. When the port was concessioned, there is no holding bay. There's a difference between a holding bay and a trailer park. A trailer park is where you park your trailers. A holding bay is where you stay for maybe 1 or 2 hours, then you can go into the port. If you go to other countries, you have it. A concentration of 3 major ports within this area, you cannot access them. So there's almost 30% of impact in terms of cost of running business there. Then you have so many agencies like SUN. SUN is just advertising so many of these things. We need SUN to go and establish their laboratories. If they want to collect their money in the port, they should establish their laboratories.
In the port?
No, around the country. Because we need to really look at SUN and look at what they are doing. The laboratories must be established, because it's not a revenue collecting center. When you look at the components of importation, you have 3 components of importation. You import on the quantity, you import on the value, and you import on quality. The value and the quantity is for customs, while some aspect of the value is the quality is for customs, because in terms of analyzing and looking at things. But when you look at the quality, is for the regulatory agencies, which is SUN, NAFDAC, and all the rest. NAFDAC actually, I was in a committee. We noticed that we went around to look at NAFDAC lab. They have lab. We expect SUN. SUN cannot be a regulator and still be overseeing the work of NAFDAC. NAFDAC only have 6 things they are doing. That is medical device, chemical, water, and some other things. But it's just 6. SUN is doing the whole thing. We expect SUN to concentrate more, not in looking for revenue.
Are you saying that, well, even though we're looking at the ports, are you saying that SUN and NAFTA can't build a joint laboratory, since they're more or less doing tests and analysis of products that are brought into the country?
You see, when you talk about the port, these are agencies that are contributing to cost in the port. If the serious cost, if you put NAFDAC, put SUN, and look at the registration process and all the rest of them, some of the time their costs are even more than the duties we pay. So when you're talking about running a port in the port, you have to look at the other agencies and look at their style of collection. You see, our port is